We turn our attention to Mid-American Conference basketball. Let's welcome John Groce, head coach of the men's basketball team at the University of Akron. John, appreciate the time. Big win against Kent State Friday night. 8 straight wins, 28 straight at the James A. Rhodes Arena, your home venue. What's the atmosphere like in the Jar these days?
Well, Friday night, it was electric. It was tremendous. I thought that the community came out like they always do and supported the game well. The university, our students, the AK Rowdies. It was an electric environment, as good as any environment we've had since I've been here. And we obviously packed the place. Give a lot of credit to certainly, Bud Wentz and his group, our marketing department as well, and all the efforts made by so many people to create what was an electric environment.
8 straight wins. What's going well on the court for the Zips? And I know there's a style you want to play. What have you seen during that streak?
Well, I think the biggest difference between non-conference and conference play for us statistically certainly has been our defense and the impact that it's made. We struggled defensively early. Our offense was ahead of our defense in the non-conference. And I think the biggest difference is that our defense has now caught up with us offensively, and we've been able to impact both ends of the floor at a pretty high level.
A lot of guys returning. Let's talk about a couple of them. Tavari Johnson leads the MAC, averaging 20 points a game in conference. 4th year at Akron. Another guy is Amani Lyles. You always seem to have guys that are part of this team that supporting role 1 year, and then when someone graduates and there's that opening, somebody's ready to step up and take the leadership role. Is that by design? How does that happen?
I think it happens a little bit organically, but certainly a big reason is our ability to retain, right? So Tavari, as you mentioned, has been here 4 years. Amani, 4 years. We've been able to retain. I think that's critical in this environment. There's nothing more important than retention. And then obviously you want to make sure you're adding the right people to your program and the right players. And so we've had some success doing that as well. But, the evolution of Tavari and Enrique, if you think about it for those two guys, and they would tell you this, Tavari as a young buck had to go against Xavier Castaneda every day in practice. And as a freshman was getting his tail kicked a lot. Amani Lyles for 2 years had to go against an NBA player in Enrique Freeman. That made him better. I think Castaneda made Tavari better. Guys before Castaneda, the Greg Tribbles, the Lauren Christian Jacksons made him better. So I think because of our ability to retain, it's become cyclical in a way. And those guys get an opportunity to learn. And then when they get older, then they get to pass the torch to the next set of young guys, which Tavari and Amani are doing right now with our young bigs and our young guards.
So the other thing is you do get a guy who comes in and is making an impact. You have Evan and Eric Mahaffey, brothers from Moeller High School. One of them came in, and I'm going to mess it up because they both begin with E's. I think was it Evan that came in from Ohio State?
Evan did. Yeah, he came from Ohio State. His brother was here last year with us as a redshirt freshman.
What have you seen from Evan? That's a guy that can do a lot of things on the court.
Yeah, Evan's been a real blessing. I remind him of that and probably need to remind him of that more. He's just, first of all, great person, great for our locker room, great teammate, hard worker, cares about more than just himself, very selfless, and has made an impact in that way. And that's the most important. Basketball-wise, he's also made a big impact. Size, length, athleticism, able to stuff a stat sheet. You'll pick up the stat sheet after the game, and Evan may have 8 to 10 points, 6, 7 rebounds, a few steals, a couple block shots, guards multiple positions, defensively plays multiple positions offensively, and is a great passer. Same thing, stuffs the stat sheet with assist. Just impacts the game in a multitude of ways. His brother's not too different. His brother would have played for us last year had he not gotten hurt. He was tracking. In fact, he started our first scrimmage prior to last season beginning and then had the issue with the knee. And so I think the redshirt year did benefit him, however, and he learned a lot and was able to share with his brother in the recruiting process what we're about. And it's pretty cool that obviously the family and Evan felt like it would be a good fit for him. obviously the bonus of that is that he gets to play with his brother, which is super special.
And they hadn't, my understanding was they hadn't really played organized ball together before this year because of the age difference. How much are they enjoying that from what you can tell?
Well, you'd have to ask them, but certainly from what we can tell, they are greatly enjoying it. And I know the family is as well. It is special to have that opportunity to compete at this level with your brother is something that'll never be taken away from them. They'll always have it for the rest of their lives. And so I think they cherish it. They spend a lot of time together, obviously. And, but yet they're so different too. And they complement each other so well.
All right, so 9th season at Akron, you've produced 20 plus wins, 5 of the past 6, 2 wins away from doing that. How do you continue that success and do it year in and year out?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into that. And even the year that we didn't get to 20 was the COVID year. We only played 23 games. So when you say 5 out of 6, obviously by percentage, we were tracking to get that done as well. We just didn't play enough games in that particular year. So we've had a great 6-year run with the 5 championships. And but that's almost a byproduct, really. The results are something that I think as I've gotten older, I've learned not to focus as much on those and focus more on process. And we've been able, to build a program that's, based on our core values, based on the standards that we've set here. We always say the standard is the standard, and guys buy into that. When guys come in here, we say you become us, we don't become you, and they take a lot of pride in that. Going into last Friday's game against Kent, all the former guys, or a lot of them certainly, were reaching out to our players and to our staff, and it's one thing to have success one year. It's another thing to do it over 6 or 7 years. So I think culture is a big part of that. Certainly winning has helped with the retention piece. Player development has helped. Freeman was a guy that was a walk-on that became an NBA player. Ali had one scholarship offer, becomes a first-team all-league player, our leading scorer in one of our NCAA tournament run years, and now as a pro in France. We've done it with guards, wings, front court players. So I think the track record in player development has helped. The winning has helped. And then NIL's helped. Obviously we appreciate the efforts of Bud Wentz and his group with the collective, as well as the university's efforts as we continue to jumpstart the Rev Share program that got initiated and started last summer with the House settlement being passed. So it's really a combination of NIL, culture, winning, player development, that I think has allowed us to have some consistent success and to build a program.
All right, before I let you go, a game behind unbeaten Miami in the Mid-American Conference standings. And again, what's the message when you go down the stretch and then leading into that MAC tournament at Rocket Arena, trying to win in March, I guess?
Yeah, no, we're just taking it one day at a time, quite frankly, one game at a time. I think the most important thing is for us to honor the day that's in front of us, the present day, and make it the best that we can in order for us to reach our potential. Every coach wants their team to play its best basketball at the end. Every coach wants, when the dust settles and the season's over, to say, hey, we overachieved. And certainly that's the mission we're on. As I mentioned to you, we've improved greatly defensively. Offensively, I still think there's some things we can get better at here in league play in particular. But we've got to continue to grow. You want to be that team in February and March that's getting better each day. You don't want to be that team that plateaus or goes backwards.
John Groce, thanks so much for the time and the insight. Appreciate it very much. Best of luck as you battle towards March and that tournament at Rocket Arena.
Hey, we really appreciate it. Thanks for having us on, and go Zips.
Time to take a look at the Mid-American Conference men's standings on the road to Cleveland in the MAC tournament. Miami Redhawks, one of 2 undefeated teams in the entire country. Overall, Arizona is the other. They're obviously undefeated in MAC play. Right behind the Redhawks, John Groce's Akron Zips at 9-1. Kent State is third at 7-3. Toledo is next at 6-4. Ohio is the last team above 500 in MAC play. As for our game of the week, Tuesday night, Kent State at Toledo. For the Flashes, they defeated the Rockets at home last month by 3 points. Delrico Gillespie had 29 in that meeting. Toledo coming off their best defensive effort as they held the Ball State Cardinals to 55 points in a 73-55 win. Sonny Wilson leads the Rockets with over 17 points per game. That's going to do it for this update on the Mid-American Conference. We'll continue to follow both men's and women's basketball in the MAC as it comes to Rocket Arena and that tournament in March. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports for CLE. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow at 4 on Sports for CLE.